So it's Wednesday, October 8th. And last night, on Donald Trump's order, he federalized National Guard troops from Texas, a southern state, and sent them into Illinois. And they entered Illinois last night, a northern state. And something that was eating at me a little bit last week in the back of my head that I just hadn't really spoken about yet is like, this is a different version of the Civil War. And instead of the North invading the South, now the President of the United States is ordering troops from the South to invade the North. And it's happening. It's happening right now. There are National Guard troops, members of the United States military, because once they are federalized, they are U.S. military. There are U.S. military troops from Texas on the ground in Illinois. And it's just a different version of the Civil War in little bits and pieces. And again, it's like there's so many things to say about this, but on a daily basis, man, the lie of the Second Amendment crowd of the last 50 years is just so exposed, and the facade is just ripped away. For 50 fucking years, the amosexuals with "We the People" tattooed on their forearms with their neckbeards and their Oakleys, and "Shall not be infringed" tattooed on one of their butt cheeks, have screamed from the rooftops that we need our guns in order to protect the American people from a tyrannical government. Turns out it was just racism. Turns out it was just flat out racism, because we have a tyrannical government. We have an authoritarian government. We have an authoritarian president who is trying to consolidate power to become a dictator. He is sending United States military troops into blue cities and blue states to confront with live ammo unarmed, peaceful protesters, American citizens, civilians. And where is the Second Amendment crowd? They are cheering it on. They are cheering it on. Because the tyrannical power of this government is being used against the left, who a lot of these Second Amendment neckbeard amosexual gomers don't like. So it's conditional. It's conditional. You know? All of these guys think that they're Kyle Rittenhouse, and all of them are desperate to be Kyle Rittenhouse, to get their fat asses up off their couches after they're done with their hot pockets and grab their AR and go to a No Kings protest maybe on October 18th. And they want to open fire on their fellow civilians who they claimed for 50 years they needed to keep their guns in order to prevent the government from doing what it's doing right now. But it turns out when the government does this thing to people that the Second Amendment crowd doesn't agree with politically, the Second Amendment crowd, with all their tough guy bullshit bravado, are completely fine with it. They're completely fine with tyranny. They're completely fine with authoritarianism. They're completely fine with government violence being used against American civilians, depending on who those civilians voted for. The Second Amendment crowd are nothing more than liars, hypocrites, and racists. Flat out. Prove me wrong.